best practices that we know should exist in terms of, we call it biosecurity, but basically keeping, if we're rearing livestock or animals in any way in crowded conditions, they need to be, we need to handle that in utmost care to make sure that diseases can't be transmitted to them from wildlife. And we have, best practices in some developing countries, but there's a lot of countries that are just starting to come on board with mass production. And it's a pretty resource intense prospect to do biosecurity well. So we need to take care of that. And then, as we were saying before, I think we really need to have surveillance on those front lines at the animal human interface. We need surveillance on the animal side and the human side. People need access to healthcare. We need to do it in an equitable way so that the most at-risk populations are taken care of. And I think if we all work together on that, and I can't emphasize the importance of international collaboration in all of this, which has taken a bit of a backseat lately, which is really unfortunate. If we don't have good collaboration between colleagues and scientists, not only between animal expertise and human expertise, because you need to have a personal relationship that way. You need to foster that and support that so that if there's an outbreak, people can work nimbly between animal health and human health, and including wildlife health. But we also need to be able to call each other across countries and feel comfortable and have trust with, hey, we found a new thing. Why don't we share this finding? Why don't we share this information and these materials and all work on it together? And there's a lot of the international collaborative spirit that is essential to us protecting each other from pandemics.
Yes, I mean, and then there's some interesting, prospects going forward. I mean, the UK is passing legislation on, restriction importation of beef from countries that cause deforestation to produce that beef. So, there you go again. I mean, I keep coming back to this economic side of it because ultimately that drives a lot of the decisions in many places. So, there's so many mechanisms and so many things that, when you start to look at each piece of this puzzle separately and intimately, you start to see just how many things we don't really do well. Now that with very little change, we could actually do so much better to be protected. And, we could, if we insist, or it's important for some people's livelihood to continue to trade wildlife, well, we could choose what species we trade very carefully. We could say, trading parts of animals that are no longer live is okay to some extent if the species is not endangered and it's not causing a threat to the wildlife population. And but also, just eliminating these live animal markets that pose such huge risk. So there are different aspects of all of these chains of consumption and production that we could be tackling, with resources, of course, but, the gains will be a lot more than the losses, definitely.